So let's get to it. Us against the shouty shows for Week 10 here.
Well, the Rams are still not healthy on the interior of their O-line. They're playing a rookie center. They don't want to. They're playing a pretty marginal left guard. So it's still not a great O-line. Is Christian Wilkins playing the D tackle for the Dolphins?
They're not going to do inactives until a little later today.
So, I mean, I think the Rams could have a little problem running the ball tonight through the interior. But
yeah,
Christian Wilkins plays for the Raiders.
And, in fact, doesn't play for the Raiders at the moment because he's on IR for the Raiders.
I'm just saying, of all the errors in that, the fact that he's not a Dolphin is the biggest issue, not the fact that he's on IR.
Correct, but they're both pretty significant barriers to him playing on Monday night.
I have empathy.
Correct.
For that.
Yes. I want to go to bat.
Right.
Look, as somebody that started off our preview show talking about the running back matchup between, James Conner and whoever the hell else the Steelers are playing, even though James Conner plays for Arizona, sometimes your brain is just going to short circuit and draw a connection that isn't there anymore. This, I think, is different. Remember the way there was a stretch of time a while ago where they were really pushing Stephen A. Smith talking about football, and it was pretty evident that he had no earthly idea what the hell he was talking about, and he kept bringing up players that didn't play for that team or players that hadn't been there in years, and this was like a weekly thing, right? Where Stephen A. Smith was just demonstrating the lack of knowledge he had for the subject matter. This, I think, is different, where this is just a brain glitch. Right? Colin Cowherd is on the air talking for 1 million hours a day, every single day. Sometimes your brain is just going to short circuit and he doesn't play there anymore.
So on one hand, if you and I did it, it's a brain glitch. The problem, I think, with Cowherd here is that he needs to – he's got to roll in with really strong, is LeBron the GOAT takes every day, right?
But Cowherd knows that Christian Wilkins doesn't play for the Dolphins.
I don't really know if he does.
I think he does.
He was the biggest free agent signing in the NFL last year, but our job is the NFL. We know that.
Cowherd knows
we're
that.
10 weeks into the season. I don't know if he's keeping up with NFL free agency that much. All he talks about is quarterbacks. He probably watches the NFL on Sunday. He's not going back and grinding film for the next 3 days. He's got to watch the NBA games on Monday, and he's got to have takes on college football, and he's got to do all these other things. And he just forgot that Wilkins is on the Raiders. And they were like, hey, talk about Dolphins-Rams. How many Dolphins-Rams games has Colin Cowherd watched closely this year? I know he's out in L.A. Maybe he watches Rams games closer. I don't know. I can't imagine he's watched the Dolphins for more than a half this year. And it was the Monday Night Football game when they played it, didn't have Tua, and it was ugly. I'm just telling you, he's probably not locked into all 32 NFL teams.
I don't think he needs to be locked in. I think Cowherd knows that Christian Wilkins doesn't play for the Dolphins anymore. This is not the same as Stephen A. Smith demonstrating a consistent lack of knowledge about the NFL. I think he just had a brain glitch, and the other guy, Jason, he was just led, like you're leading the witness, right? At the point where you sort of set out the premise, that requires him consciously correcting him live on the air, be like, no, he doesn't play there anymore, right? Which, number one, you might not want to do to the guy who, bite the hand that feeds you. And number two, your brain is set along a pathway at that point.
We would do that. We're more informal, and we would correct each other, and then we just say, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, I messed up.
Yeah, we're both reliant on each other for an income, but not in the same way, right? It's not like, I rely on you as my benefactor, It's like, no, we're equals here.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the same thing.
Don't embarrass Colin.
Exactly. Jason doesn't want to be like, no, idiot. He doesn't even play there anymore, you dumbass. Like, you can't rip the guy that's providing you with the platform, right? So I don't think I don't think Cowherd, I think his brain glitched, and I think the other guy, it's not necessarily reasonable to expect him to correct Cowherd live on air. So I want to absolve both of them for that. I don't think that's
empathy.
I don't think that's a massive problem.
We attacked this one with empathy. Let's get to the next one.
This Colts team fucking sucks. I'm disgusted. Wow. I'm disgusted.
Flacco.
Everybody wants to put AR in. Hey, listen.
Oh, no.
AR had no chance with this building that is happening. That is what I've realized over the last 12 hours. He's got nobody telling him how he's supposed to operate in that building.
Exactly.
Kenny Moore, our captain, one of my favorite guys on the football team.
Yeah.
After the game comes out and he goes, our team doesn't work. So AR had no idea how he's supposed to be a professional because there's no damn professionals in that building.
That's strong.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily unreasonable either. McAfee's probably quite plugged into that building based off being, a former player there. And, I mean, we flagged it coming out of the weekend, right? The thing, Kenny Moore's kind of comments, I think was pretty significant. You start putting all that together. Hey, Anthony Richardson, was it naivety to be like, tap himself out of the game, right? Surely somebody, and then to say it publicly afterwards. I was just tired, not going to lie, right? All those NFL players were like, lie. Don't say that out loud in front of a microphone, right? Clearly there was a breakdown there somewhere. Like, that should have been information that was in Richardson's brain and wasn't. You start putting all that together and you do end up with this pattern of where is the experienced professional head within that building getting everybody on the same page?
One of the toughest things in sports is the chicken or the egg aspect of team chemistry. Do you feel good about your teammates when you're winning? Is it because of the winning, or do you win because of it, right? And I think that's – I don't know if Indy's up against that. Like, you're on this losing streak, and then you've got Kenny Moore. Oh, nobody's working hard. Everybody's bad. It's all bad. We knew this was coming, right? Or whoever else, some other player said that. Like, oh yeah, if you saw the week of practice, it's all bad, right? Of course
Wilson.
We lost. Gary Wilson.
No, he was the other way around. He was like, the week of practice was great. We just, in the games, we don't want it.
Just suck at the games. But a lot of times it's, everybody hates each other. But if they win, it's like, oh, all right, we really bonded together, came together down the stretch, So that part's difficult to unpack.
I also think it shows a potential concern with, drafting these young, inexperienced quarterbacks, because quarterback, it's supposed to be the leader, right? Peyton Manning, the sheriff, right? The guy is supposed to be the general, the one that everybody follows. But if you're drafting a wildly young, inexperienced, quote, immature, just sort of not, and I mean immaturity as in like just non-world experience, you know what I mean? Like, apparently doesn't know that you can't say in front of a microphone, I was just tired on this play, so I want it out, right? If you're drafting somebody like that, there's a real disconnect there between he's supposed to lead a locker room full of experienced men, professionals, versus, I mean, he's not really up to that task yet. Like, I
think it's a fair point.
That's a potential issue with those.
That's why the solution is Topgolf.
Topgolf.
You take them to Topgolf, you find out who the leader is ahead of time, so you don't deal with this.
And
you think the Topgolf leader is going to opt out a little tired on 3rd and 20? Absolutely not.
Well, not just that, but so there's a certain degree of life experience necessary to organize the Topgolf, right? Just simply the mechanism of it, right?
Yeah, just getting people lined up and getting moving people into whatever they're called.
Has he
booths, banner, the bays? Which bay you in?
Right.
Oh, we'll split it up.
Has he arranged the credit cards and who's going to pay and how the whole thing's divided? Like, somebody's going to do that.
Jaden crushed it. I can only assume. All right, what's next?
I am going to start calling him Herschel Parsons. Because I think it tells the story better than Micah Walker. I'm not saying that they should trade Micah Parsons because he isn't a great player. I'm saying they should trade Micah Parsons because they have painted themselves into a terrible position, no matter how you slice it. An incredibly expensive quarterback, an incredibly expensive wide receiver, an incredibly expensive defensive player, and a roster in dramatic need of being lifted in a lot of different places.
Do you think that Greenberg gets upset when the other people chime in and like ruin his speech cadence?
The same way Mike T elicits laughter in the middle of his
right. Well, that's
trade.
That's
maybe they just all laugh at each other a lot.
It does feel like it's difficult to get your point across.
Greeny's like, no, I was practicing this in front of the mirror. Don't interrupt.
But like when Winston Churchill is giving his speech, right? Nobody, the reporters with the old 40s hat and the ticket and the brim, the credential and the brim and the pad and paper, they're not like chipping in with comments during it, right?
No.
They're respectful. They're like, here's going to be a great speech. We're going to take every word of this down. We're going to print it in the paper tomorrow. It's going to go out live. It's going to become one of the greatest speeches of all time, right? Nobody's heckling John F. Kennedy, when he's like, ask not what your country can do for you. They let him get it out because there's a rhythm to that. Greenberg's sitting there. He's trying to give his JFK speech, and people are chipping in from the bleachers. I think that annoys him.
I think you're right. It's also got to be tough to give 25 Churchills a day. How do you crank out that many speeches?
It's a daily Churchill is what he's doing, yeah.
More than a daily, I imagine. We only get one a week here. I'm sure. I don't watch. I'm sure he has others. The concept, the Cowboys, of course, are fascinating because I don't like if you said, hey, are the Cowboys going to take a step back this year? I'd say, yeah, that's a fair assessment, right? Offensive line turnover. I don't trust Tyler Guyton. He's your left tackle now. Run game looks awful. Didn't get better at receiver. But they're not like that far away. I don't think the Cowboys are that far away that it's blow it up.
They won 12 wins.
They had 12 wins last
12
year.
wins 3 straight seasons last year, right? They were supposed to be good this year. Yeah, I'm
also of the mind, like if you were to get like 2 firsts and a second for Micah Parsons, like I'm thinking about it, but I don't know.
Like we always talk about, okay, you've got for the spine of a team, for the real skeleton, the foundation stones of a team, you need quarterback, check. Okay, you can debate, is he good enough for the money he's on, but you have a top-tier quarterback, right? Top-tier receiver, CeeDee Lamb is now locked up. Pass rusher would be next. That's Micah Parsons, who we're talking about getting to be paid. And then the next 2 would be cornerback, Diggs is there, and top-tier offensive tackle. Now, okay, that one's a question mark because you just drafted Tyler Guyton in the first round. He's struggling as a, developmental project-y type of tackle. But 3 of the 5 positions that you would identify as locking down necessary cornerstone pieces are already there and locked up. And the next 2 are not definite failures. I mean, they're workable. So you look at this, you say, is this the main bones of this are good? It's just obviously things have spiraled out of control this year.
They've drafted well. They need to dabble in free agency the right way and not the wrong way, the way they've been doing it. And so I think they're close. I'd probably keep Micah Parsons. All right, what's next here?
I just can't get a break. Just when I thought we might take off, Cooper Rush in for Dak Prescott. Did not happen. Cooper Rush pretty much stunk in the first half. He did throw one pretty good ball that would have put Dallas maybe ahead at halftime. CD running across the back of the end zone, loses it in the sunlight and runs right past it. Jerry, just close the blinds. How about it?
Well, I'm with him there.
The most reasonable thing Skip's brought to the table in 15 years.
I mean, I think we started off in a bad spot, right? I just can't catch a break. Skip Bayless, he of multi-million-dollar salaries for the last gazillion years, was made face of a network, et cetera. Just can't catch a break, Yeah.
Poor Skip, the team that he likes the most, the 3-win team and their backup quarterback just couldn't beat the Eagles this week, and we feel for him.
Man who called for Cooper Rush to start games and then had to live through Cooper Rush starting a game being terrible, just can't catch a break, Man reaping what he sows, can't catch a break. So that part is slightly stupid. I am, however, with him that just close the damn blinds, Jerry, And it is kind of hysterical just how hard he's digging his heels in against that.
It's not a shouty show, but was Mike Florio suggesting that the play calling needed to adjust for the Cowboys?
That's what Jerry has painted himself into. That's the corner that Jerry Jones has been painting himself into this week is Kellen Moore understood where the sun was going to come from. He knew, he understood, he got it.
What is available? So here's what's available. Handoffs to Zeke.
Yep.
Where he fumbles
where
into the
everybody
end zone
faces
again.
forwards. Yeah.
Hand off to Zeke and fades outside the numbers.
Right. Simply don't ask I tweeted, like if I was Mike McCarthy, I simply wouldn't have tried to score in the end zone where the sun was streaming into. Only score in the other end zone.
Then you get the kicking issue. Is the sun in the holder's eyes?
Aubrey's good. Don't worry. You don't need to worry about it. They're kicking. The kicking game's fine.
I'm sorry. No, the kicker's fine because it's just in the receiver's eyes going.
It's only in that end zone, so you're fine. The other end zone's good.
So middle of the field.
Only try and score in the end zone without the sun.
There you go.
Kellen Moore understood that. The funny thing about those things is that, okay, let's treat
it's our home field advantage.
But even if you want to give Jerry, let's take his comments at face value and say, okay, rather than the absurdity that it is, let's treat that as a sensible argument for a minute, right? Jerry Jones thinks Kellen Moore understood the dynamic at work here. Well, that he got it. He understood. We know where the sun's coming from. He called his plays accordingly. Okay, then why'd you fire him? If he was so great, if he understood where the sun came from and called plays accordingly, consequently we were a 12-win football team, everything was great, why'd you let him go? That's on you again.
You should be Jerry's assistant.
This is the problem with this, is that You own the team and you're the GM. There is no decision that occurs that does not ultimately trace back to you. You can't just obfuscate and say it's somebody else's fault, because ultimately you were the guy that either hired or fired that guy.
I know this is your sweet spot for analysis, but we got to get to one more here.
All right.
And then we got Dean coming in.
So they have, it's not even a case of, if only there was a way of we could maybe buy some blinds, right? They're past that. The blinds are there. Somebody just needs to press the button for the blinds to be closed and Cowboys players not to get blinded. And Jerry's like, nope, you know where the sun is going to be. Adjust. Make the adjustment. I love it. I love it. It's content gold, and that's why the Cowboys are great.
We need the Spider-Man meme. You and Skip Bayless just pointing at each other, asking for blinds. That's what we need. Same guy.
I have become that which I hate. I have become Shouty Show.
Just shut the blinds, man.
That was quite Shouty Show, like. Yeah.
It was.
That's unfortunate.
Look,
it rather undermines our premise for this segment.
Look, it's hour 3 on a Monday morning. You can see how it comes out of you, right? You're on little sleep, and it's Jerry Jones. It's your hot button. Yeah. Good work, man. You made the segment.
That is a bit unfortunate.
You made the Shouty Show segment. Top notch. I mean,
touche.
Now I'm nervous we might lose you.
Touche, producers. Touche.
Fox and ESPN, please don't steal Sam from us.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.